part number 7 on Right Turn Garage TV tonight. We're doing the rear end swap. No, not on that, because that's, you know, the Iroc Z convertible. We got our brake lines ran. The gooder news is, wait a minute, that thing is dusty. There, can you see me better now? So, the gooder news is, it only took me 10 minutes to get the wheels off because they were stuck. So that's good. That's probably no indication at all about how things are going to go tonight, so I feel confident about that. And you may be asking yourself, if you've never done a rear end swap, why has he got the rear wheels off of it? Well, friends, there's at least one thing we have to, you know, remove from here. That's the e-brake cable. So hopefully these drums, hopefully they're not as tight as what they may be or may not be, depending on who's worked on it here. Some people don't really like set the old tension to the drums, and I need these drums for those axles over there, and thank goodness they're the same, because I knocked one of these weights off of that rear end over there while removing the drum. It was actually, the drum was causing that rear end to be locked up, so I knocked the daggone thing off, and you know, when we set it, let's, oh, wait a minute, this might be loose. It's just oh yeah, nice and crusty. Yep, them ain't moved in at least, well, since the last time I drove the car. So what we need to do, right here at the very bottom, you see that fella right there? What we need to do is take that feller out of this brake shoe. And honestly, I don't think it's that bad. It's been a while since I've done drum brakes, because I mean, everything has disc anymore, right? But I'm pretty sure I could probably take either that, maybe this bottom spring off. There's the bottom spring. Okay, maybe that bottom spring there. Take that off, and you know what? Let's just, 1 second. I might be able to get it with a flathead screwdriver and just call her good. Back in the day, I used to could probably. Let's grab a couple different flavors here. Just see what happens. So, going in for the kill. Let's see. Hold on, screen. You just stay right there. Now, I'm going to try my best. I can't even see it like that. Daggone. Hold on. Where's she at? Right in here. So what I'm going to do is pull back on it and actually kind of like, yep, that ain't going to work. Dang it. All right. Plan B is take our needle nose pliers, grab a hold of that, pull it out, and push it this way. And if I can do this with one hand, man, it's going to be a good night. If I can't, well, that'll be just about right. Hello? Yeah, just stay right there. Just sit. Okay, so here goes nothing. I hope you guys can see this sucker. What we're aiming for is on the back of this spring. See that thing sticking out there? Right back, right there. What I'm gonna do is pinch it, pull, and push in with these needle nose pliers, hopefully. And hopefully I got enough oomph to and hopefully this cable didn't froze so much, which it probably is, because I think I've had this car for 2 years, maybe? Year and a half, somewhere there. I don't remember when I got this thing, but Okay. Guys, I hate to do this, but what I'm gonna have to do is put this camera down, and then I'll have to explain how I got it. I'm sorry, but this is trying, okay? So just give me 1 minute, and I'm still gonna try that method. It's just gonna be easier with 2 hands, okay? And if that don't work, we may take a brake shoe off. You know, set it to the side. So give me just 1 minute, I'll let you know what works. So the good news is, there was absolutely no sneak in that one. So since there's no sneak in it, I can show you how it goes. I pulled the whole daggone shoe off. I took the easiest shoe off because this one has multiple springs on it. And you know, this one's attached to the brake shoe. Luckily for me, I did get the cable to move, so it isn't frozen. I was gonna do a delete system on it, but it's not bad. So hold on, my camera's doing something funky here. Tighten down there, little fella. All right, so what you can do now is adjust these to fit this little bugger right here. And then now you just and you remove it. Bada boom, bada bang, da bang. Then you just put it back together, because this rear end is still good. It just has a 273 ratio and a limit slip posi, or limit slip differential, whatever you want to call it. So I'm actually going to save this because it is a posi rear end, or limited slip, however you want to say it. I'm going to save it still after I remove it, set it to the side, maybe put some black magic on it, you know, save it for a while. Because there was absolutely nothing wrong with this rear end other than it wasn't a 327 gear ratio that goes with this 5-speed. Okay, so that's how you undo that, I believe. Ooh. Oh shoot, how do I have to get that? I think I have to squeeze. Wait, I want to go there. I think I have to squeeze on this emergency brake cable from the inside on the shoe. Not the shoe, well, close to the shoe. All right, guys, step number 2, just dismantle them. Lay your shoes down accordingly to where they were, and just get ready to throw it back together. Because I don't think there is an easy way, you know, to do that. Dang it. So I'm going to get this side apart. Well, after I get this side apart, I'll do the squeeze thing to the emergency brake cable, remove it, and then I'm going to get the other side without showing you, because if you've seen one side, you've seen 2 sides. Sound good? All right, give me just a minute to get this other side apart. You want to see that part? I think I heard one of you say that. All right, so here goes nothing. What I do, I don't remember where I put my brake spring tool, so I'm going to just do this for right now. The brake spring tool is made for rear drums, and it makes this so much easier. Because believe me, none of that's fake. These suckers are tighter than Grandpa spending money at Christmas time. And you can just twist them off like nothing. All right, see, you got that one there. And then you just do the exact same thing to this one. You just pull him like that. And I don't know if I can, don't forget guys, you also have this middle bar in here that keeps the shoes separated at the top. Okay, now That stinking thing is way down there at the bottom. So the good thing is that that didn't really help me too much. Okay, you see that critter, right? Hold on, let me see if you can see it. Can you see that? All right. Phase 12 means take the stinking shoe off of it, and then you guys can see it a lot more gooder. So again, we're just going to adjust these because that's the tool we grabbed. You don't have to grab needle nose vice grips. It just happens to be the tool that I grabbed. And I don't really know why, but you push in on this spring and you can actually twist, because this lines up with a little notch. If the daggone thing isn't frozen together like this one is, then it's real easy. But you know, the good thing is it's froze. So come on now, get off of there. What are you doing? There we go. I think I got it. Did I get it? There we go. All right. So now you can see what holds that e-brake in there. Now we're going to use the same tool. We're just, yeah. Like I said, we're going to use this different tool. Where did I put it? You see it? Nope, me either. So we're going to use the same tool we've been using. There's just little ears there that we have to adjust for, apparently. We're just going to squeeze them in. This might work even more good. Oh yeah, see that? Now just squeeze them in. You can work it backward. Boom. Just like that. Well, I'm kind of glad that happened. That way so you guys got a little bit of an understanding on how those go in and are big pain in the rear end. So the good thing is I only have 3 more wheels to do that to. That's right, because I junkyard removed the ones off that rear end over there. And by junkyard removed, I mean I took a Sawzall, whoosh, cut right through her, because I was going to save some time. And the car was actually going to the junkyard. I know. It was an Iroc Z that I junked, but you know, it happens. So now I'm gonna put those shoes back on there, go to the other side, do the exact same thing, and then we'll come back and discuss our next strategic strike. All right, so give me a minute to get this thing back together. I hate drum brakes, daggone it, but you know, they worked for decades. So give me just a minute, I'm gonna put it back together. We'll go to the other side. I'm not recording it because if you've seen one, you've seen them both. And then I think the next thing we're going to do, we're going to hit the delete button on these sway bar links. I'm pretty sure that's our next step. Give me a minute. Well, guys and gals, I'm going to tell you one thing that I've been learning on this particular project. This is supposed to be kind of a budget type build. Don't skimp, because it isn't going to save you any time. That's about right. So this cable here, it did move, but you see that? It may sound like a broken record. I'm gonna do it again. If you have 30-plus-year-old parts and you're going to use them in the future, and with a 5-speed manual transmission, I intend to use the emergency brake. Most automatics, you don't use the emergency brake on because they're automatic. You know, you just use the old parking pawl and then it's done. I will be replacing both of these rear cables because the other side was absolutely froze, and the clip, it broke on the other side getting it out. So that's more gooder. No, that's not gooder. I got my gooders mixed up. I told you originally I was going to cut that sucker right there. I lied. I got thinking about it, and this arm, Panhard Bar Arm, is the only, make sure I ain't lying, yep, it's the only one that's attached to the rear end. It's tighter than heck. I don't even know. So, I mean, you see how this sucker looks. I mean, I really worked on this sucker, and that's no joke. So I'm gonna clean it up real good, and yeah, we're gonna be throwing out and back in there, but you're gonna wanna disconnect that part first. And the reason why is right now, you have all of this, you have the shock, you have the sway bars, everything kind of holding the weight of it, you know. So if you knock that sucker loose, which I don't know where I put my hammer, the old rubber mallet, just gonna knock it down, and then you know, there we go. And there's absolutely no rust. That's all dirt. No, that's rust. So, but the good thing is that bolt come out. I had to cut one on that rear end. I don't remember which one or two. I think it may have been a shock bolt for some reason. So the good thing is the shocks, they're red. So that tells me they've been replaced at least once. And the way these sway bar links look, they've been replaced at least once. So I'm not gonna fart around with these sway bar links. I'm gonna take a Sawzall, I'm cutting them in half. And these shocks, I think I might paint them, make them more gooder again. For right now, maybe. No, I bought new shocks. We're replacing the shocks. I forgot. We're replacing the shocks, and on another episode, we're replacing the front struts because this thing rides like dog poopy. Not gooder. So we're going to unbolt. The only thing we're going to do right now is unbolt this. We're cutting that in half on both sides. I think, I'm about 100% sure. Stinking thing. Oh, see, I didn't change it. Oh, or I changed my hat. This is still the same day. I was just trying to, you know, the missus made this for me for Christmas, you know, Right Turn Garage RTG. So that was awful sweet of her. I'm trying not to mess it up. I just wanted shots of that thing, you know, while I'm doing this stuff. Let her know I appreciate it. But anyway, I think you gotta go through the trunk. Nope. We're going through this here convertible. It's behind the seat, I think. Maybe. I'll let you know on the top part of that shock because I don't remember. And anyway, so we're cutting that, unbolting that, and methinks, oh, and there's a nice crusty brake line that will more likely snap and make a new one right there-ish. You see it? It's nice, and she's not gooder, boys. She's not gooder at all. So, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and twist on that, watch it break, and say, son of a gun. But I'm pretty sure these rear brakes are not working anyway, because they seem to push even with the car and the brakes on in rear, and it's not gooder. But look, make sure you put your brakes back, because if you are going to use this rear end again or sell it, what have you, you're going to need to have it, you know, together. Oh, wait a minute, I know what one I'm going to do next. These bushings right here, those ones right there, those dirty birds. That's right, I forgot all about those, because those are the ones you're going to have trouble with too. Stinker. Because they're fun. I think we're going to go ahead and do those lower ones off of these trailing arms right here, for the simple fact, just as I told you, the shocks are holding the weight. So it ought to let this, like, you know, just relax a little bit. And if not, I'm gonna put a jack underneath that pumpkin. A pumpkin is another name for the rear end differential. So I might put the jack under there to get rid of some of that stress. I think that's a good idea. We're getting rid of those bolts first. We're pulling those suckers out. Hopefully they come out without trouble, because there's rubber bushings in there. They're 30 plus years old and they may give us fits. So wish us luck. Hopefully we're done in like, I'm not going to put a time limit on it, because it's not going to be gooder. All right, so I'll let you know how much fun that is as soon as I get them out of there. Well, we have made it clear to the brake line. That'll probably snap. So what I'm gonna do, I removed those bolts down here in, well, I mean, 97 percentile of them. And if you're having trouble with those, hopefully you don't. The only reason why these ones stuck in this rear end over here is because the darn thing set for years of, you know, just like in a field. So I would say that absolutely hurt it. This car at least was a running driving car before I made it a non-running driving car. Well, I mean, it still runs, but don't drive just yet. So that being said, I took those bolts right there loose. I knocked them through with a rubber mallet. But like I was going to say, I keep on getting distracted. If you're having trouble getting those things out, take a rubber mallet. As you're spinning it out with a, what I did, I used the breaker bar, or, I know you're not supposed to do this, it's a big no-no. They say it messes them up. These torque bars. You know, it's got a ratchet head on the end of it. They have plenty of room for leverage, right? So, as I was threading that sucker out, it got, well, actually, I took the nut off and the bolt was stuck itself. So I started twisting on the bolt, wouldn't come out. So I took the rubber mallet, and as I'm turning, I'm smacking the back side of the bolt with a rubber mallet. Rubber mallet. I also pre-lubed all of these, and I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like love this stuff. This stuff has been pretty darn good. I like the peanut butter blaster too, but that stuff right there, I bought like 3 cans of it because it was cheaper, and I had heard of it a long time ago. That stuff's, I'm becoming a big fan of it. Every time I've used that so far, it's been really nice, really nice. So anyway, those bolts stick, smack them with a hammer at the same time you're twisting it loose. It should get them out of there. I went ahead and cut the sway bar lengths because we got brand new ones. Before I drop this rear end down, okay, the shock is the last thing I'm disconnecting. I also put my jack underneath, and the reason why is to take pressure off of these bolts down here, wherever they're at, right there. You want to take pressure off that way so you can get them out of there easier, and so they're not the one supporting factor that you're, you know, because this shock, luckily for me, has already been off at least once. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit it with the air, and it's probably just going to drop. That's another reason why I'm going to disconnect the brake line first. I really wish I'd have hit it with some liquid wrench here. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. And we're just going to, you know, we're going to ignore all that rust and grimy nastiness, and we're just going to say it's going to come off of there, even though it may not, without twisting and all that good jazz. Other than that, brake line first, shock second, and we're going to drop that rear end right out of there. Then we're going to put this pretty puppy in here. Look how good that looks. That looks real gooder. Now, you're going to want to save these tabs, if you can, off your usable differential. This one just broke because it was rusty. This is for the emergency brake cable. Save as much of this stuff as you can. And I was wrong, I did order brand new wheel cylinders. Only the bestest, Ray bestest that is. So I will be putting those on later tonight probably, which is great. So, you know, I got that going for me. And we're gonna stop talking. We're gonna do some, you know, some real work. And I'll let you know if there's absolutely anything else that gets in the way. I don't think there will be. I hope there won't be. Okay, one other thing. These shocks, coil springs here, they're going to fall out whenever you drop this differential. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Actually, whenever you go to put those back in, they ain't like your front ones. These suckers here, I mean, they can fall out removing shocks on these kind of cars, and that's not even a joke. If you got it on a lift, half the time removing a shock will make those suckers drop out of place. So just make sure you put them back in the right spot, shove the rear end back up, bolt her down, you're good to go. Other than that, I think that's all of the nitty-gritty stuff that we need to even worry about, hopefully. And hopefully these daggone sway bar links just push through real easy. I think they will. If not, I got this tool set from the Harbinese Freight. I'm going to use this hammer one. I have never seen that before, but it's just flat and looks like it'll push right through. I mean, pretty nifty. I thought it was awesome. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. Sorry guys. I'm gonna remove all that crap, see what happens. All right, and then I'm gonna immediately slide this one out, slide that one in, and bolt her up, and hopefully that'll be this episode of Right Turn Garage TV. All right, give me 2 minutes on this one. Well, we got the bad boy under there. That's a plus. I wanted to, I just about have this thing fully installed. Remember those bolts you put in or took out last for the control arms? Put those bad boys in first. And no, I still haven't removed the shocks because I wanted to show you. This is the back seat area. And looky there. Can you see it? Probably not. Darn it. Right there is the nut. So that's a real gooder thing, because that means it's inside the car, it's away from the weather, and you ought to be able to spin it right out. But what I was going to show you guys is this. Remember how I told you these springs will just fall out? They will. See that bad boy right there? He's out. Sorry about that. Anyway, whenever they go back in, you have to seat them. There's a little notch. That was a good sound. There's a notch in these things, and these things will pop out. It's not a big deal, it's just rubber. So, this would be more gooder if I show you it like this. There's a little notch. You probably can't see it, maybe. Okay, you can. See that there? Now, the more narrow goes at the bottom. The big old end here goes at the top. That notch goes right at the end of the spring. Just like that. I would probably recommend taking those pieces of rubber off, putting them on the spring, and then raising the whole rear end. One, you know it's seated properly. Okay, and two, you know it's seated properly, and that's important whenever it comes to rear suspension. Now, another thing, once you get your trailing arm bolts in, your Panhard bar, get that bolt in there. Darn it. Also, where'd it go? This stuff here will probably last you a lifetime. You got to buy one jar of it. Anti-seize. That right there is a lifesaver. Let's just say, for argument's sake, 10 years down the road, you want to switch the rear end out. You don't have to fight with those bolts again. They're going to come right out. The bolts are not going to get stuck in the steel sleeve. That happened to me. And it'll happen to you too, I promise. Unless you have just the perfect situations all the time, which I hope you do. I don't. Just the way it is. Most people don't. You're also going to notice that you can't line up your Panhard Bar Arm, which is this one right here. You cannot line that up without raising the differential. Don't worry about it. Just raise the differential, rear end, what have you. Slide that bolt through, hit it with a rubber mallet. It's kind of like nail shaped, so it'll find the hole. Also, I used flat or a Phillips head screwdriver. You shove that sucker in there and you wiggle it around to where you line up the bolt hole as good as you can while raising it, and then you can shove it right through. Just give it a little tappy, tap tap taparoo. So if you do that, you should be able to get it. I think, okay, one more thing. Just thought about this. So you saw how I cut the sway bar links, right? The old ones. Gosh dang. I gotta show you this, guys. Because this is it. Okay, here it is. So here is the old sway bar link. Now you can guess that that was also, that steel sleeve was stuck on there. But this was sticking up top. Then I had some extra meat and taters sticking down here, which is why I didn't cut it flush right here, because then I could take, wherever in the world I put it, I must have put it up already. So what you do is you get in your socket drawer, whatever socket drawer it was, this in here, see that one missing? Yep, that's one we used. But you can take whatever fits right there. You see how that works? Now imagine this is bolted to your car, right like this. You can't get it off there. You need to get it off of there. You put this socket that's close to fitting on here, somewhat close to fitting on here, a long extension, like, darn. And I am so disorganized right now. All right, you take, I promise you I had a long extension, wherever it went. It was about a foot long extension. We're just gonna show you with this one. So this is just a little 6-inch extension. And what you do is you push it back and forth like that, you work it, and then she breaks right off. And it also breaks this rust loose right there, and allows you to get the sleeve off of there, and it makes that a heck of a lot easier, I promise you. I've done that a lot over the years. You can break the top of shocks off like that instead of unscrewing them. That helps if they're stubborn and stuck and you can reach to them and get to them. If not, you just got to fight with them and pray for forgiveness and mercy, you know what I mean? Other than that, I'm gonna zip this sucker back together the rest of the way, and I think later this week we're probably gonna put the new wheel cylinders on, the drums and all that good jazz. Maybe bleed the brakes. Oh yeah, that brake line, she come loose. It didn't even break, but the brake line is so gnarly. We're gonna go ahead and replace it because I don't want trouble. I don't want trouble down the road. I don't even want to think about the word trouble. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that brake line to the front with that new stuff that I got, wherever it went. The stuff looks like copper line, the same stuff we used on the rear end. So just know this, guys, whenever you're fooling around with these old cars, just take the extra time and do it, because you're gonna do it anyway. And it looks like I got some studs to replace, because That one's not the right size now, is she? Well, at least one stud replaced. Good thing I got the wheel cylinders, because those suckers are shot. So we're going to wrap this bad boy up. I'll let you know if I come into any more, you know, what the heck kind of moments, and any other tricks I can think of. All right, stick around, be right back. Well guys, we got the rear end in, got the shocks all mounted, sway bar links in, and it looks like old Dad's gonna have to do some more painting. So just one more little tidbit, and then I'm hitting the hay, because it's been a long one. This up here at the top, if your shock is spinning whenever you take this nut off right here, this end generally is a 1/4 inch. You can take a 1/4 inch wrench, hold on to it, set of vice grips, break it off, whatever you feel like doing, and that will allow, you know, this whole shock not to turn while you turn this nut off. So that right there was the only other little tidbit that I could think of. And if you're wondering if your shocks are good or not, now these, I don't even know what brand they are. They could be AutoZone type Gabriel. I don't know if they're oil, gas, but they're actually retracting, so they may be gooder-ish, but then they stop. So yeah, I'm glad I'm replacing them. Those things, if you see oil all over your shock, they're leaking, they ain't working anymore. You're going off nothing but spring at that point. And your ride's going to get, it's going to stay, you know, nice and bumpy for you. Other than that, guys, I think all this went pretty well. I mean, I'm pretty darn happy with it, with the exception of the old emergency brake cables that I'll be replacing. The next time, let's see, we might do the headlight upgrade. I'd say we're probably going to do that. In the meantime, stuff that you guys won't see on the show, I'm going to just button up all of these brakes. We're going to replace the wheel cylinders. The shoes look good, so we're just going to clean all this up, put a new wheel stud in here, replace this brake line that I did twist out, but it's just too crusty for me to trust. So, and there's no reason to not replace it if you're already here. And then we're gonna make all this, you know, we're gonna make it pretty again. So we're gonna paint it with more of that POR, P-U-R. Hold on, I'll show you what it is. This stuff is wonderful. That stuff, POR 15. That stuff is the bee's knees. It has done a heck of a job. I mean, I even did the dry shaft in it, and believe me, that dry shaft has like 5 seconds of prep time. That's not even a joke. But nonetheless, guys, that is installing the rear end, and the reason why is because this transmission matches this rear end. The engineers might know a little bit more than I do. They said, hey, with this 5-speed, put this rear end, it's gonna make her eat, you know what I mean? So that concludes this episode. Thanks so much for watching. We've made it, I think we've got 85, did I see 85 subscribers? Makes my friggin' day, man. We're really cruising. So I'm pretty happy about that. Thank all you guys for making that happen. I appreciate it. I have literally burned the midnight oil, and I gotta work in the morning at like 4:30ish, 5. So yeah, it's gonna be a long day tomorrow. But that's okay. It's all right. You can sleep when you're dead, right? But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and if you don't mind, it's it's somewhere down there, promise you. Hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. Tell your friends. And we'll see you here next time on Right Turn Garage TV.